I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today, and hey, Josh Bernstein's back with us. He's a TV host, spokesman for the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC. You can go to AMAC, check out their services. And his website is joshbernsteinpoliticalwriter.com. And good to have him. Hey, Josh, good to see you, bud. How you doing?
Good, good. Great to be back with you again.
Thank you. Well, the president has named his new national security advisor. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is this is an excellent lieutenant general, someone with a lot of experience, experience in the Persian Gulf War, experience in the Second Iraq War, has been instrumental. He's been called intellectual warrior. He may be similar in a lot of respects to James Mad Dog Mattis, as far as very learned, very smart, has shown an independent streak, has written books in the past, Dereliction of Duty, in which he criticized the Vietnam War and Lyndon Johnson and Robert McNamara on their strategy in Vietnam. So I think he's one of those people that may shake things up, but in a positive way. I think it was an interesting choice, and I think it was a good choice for America. Now,
does this nominee have to be confirmed by the Senate, or is this a presidential appointment?
No, I believe this is just a presidential appointment, as General Flynn was as well.
Okay. I just didn't know the process on that particular, because it's not a secretary position. This is really
Correct.
Interesting. All right. So are you surprised that he went with another military man?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's great that he did. I think that if you see past presidents and who they have chosen, from a Leon Panetta to a Condoleezza Rice, a lot of people are coming from academia and business worlds and things like that, and political worlds. And he's been straight up with the generals. And I think it's smart, because we are in dangerous times. We've got to defeat radical Islam. And who's better to do that than, than someone in the military, rather than someone that writes about the military or teaches about the military. This is somebody that's been in the trenches, has been in major wars, Purple Heart winner, many accreditations and medals and honors. Someone with a lot of experience, and someone that's going to set the stage to make America safe again.
Okay, the president last week gave his first press conference. It went on for over an hour. It was quite the show, if we could say that respectfully. It looks like he used the media to speak to the American people, followed up by a rally in Florida. What a day. We've never seen a presidential news conference like that. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts were, one of the things that he did that I thought was so amazing is that he was able to not only point out the media bias, but he did it in real time. So in other words, as they were being biased with their questions, he was then calling them out on those questions in real time. No one's ever done that before. The only other time it's maybe been done on national television is back in 2012 during the presidential debates, when former Speaker Newt Gingrich called out Wolf Blitzer live on television when he asked him a question about his extramarital affairs or his wife's accusations or something like that. And he kind of slammed him down and slammed it shut right then and there. But we've never seen a press conference like that. I mean, even when Major Garrett, for instance, was asking him about Russian aggression and what are your thoughts on it? What are you going to do? And he was like, well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. And then he starts with his, we're going to be bombing Mosul in 4 days, and we'll be bombing Mosul in 3 days. You know, and he just kind of mocked them, but he did it in a way where he was offensive, he was defensive, he was jovial, he was serious. He really just commanded the room. And look, a lot of people say no one wants to watch a press conference, but for the folks that haven't seen it, it is must-see TV.
Well, it's a new day, to say the least. Where do you think the press is going with this? The press, look, the press has had immeasurable pressure on presidents in the past to where they don't say anything, afraid of the press, to where you have somebody now going after everything they say. But is there the feeling among the press that they have special constitutional protection over and above the First Amendment? I mean, the First Amendment allows them to lie, but the press is acting like they got some special dispensation that they're untouchable.
They're not untouchable. And you know what I think is interesting is that although it played horrible to the press and the left-wing media, it played excellent to the rest of the country. Because for now, finally, we have someone that's plain-spoken, who's going to shake things up, that's going to fight back against the liberal bias, call them out as what they are, which is fake news. And I think it's amazing because, again, the left coast and the New York area, those two areas of the country, they don't get it. They're so disconnected from the reality of what is really taking place in America and the thought process of Americans, how they feel about the country, the direction of the country. They're starting to feel better about themselves. And one of the things President Trump does that Ronald Reagan did and not too many others were able to do is he makes you feel good about yourself and your country once again, where we've had 8 years of this diabolical leader in Barack Obama who has done nothing but divide and conquer in order to grow his political base. And we're starting to see that now where he's never going to go away. We've got the shadow government that's going on in Washington. He's moved to Washington. He's sending out, 25 to 30,000 protesters at a time. He's training them. I mean, he is literally the Saul Alinsky Jedi Knight trainer right now. And what he's doing is he's setting up shop and he's trying to defend his, horrible 8-year legacy.
So where do you think this resistance going? I mean, right now it's hot, it's loud, it's getting a lot of attention. It appears to me that they're going to do everything they can to distract this president and throw him off guard. I don't know if that's going to work, but do you think this is going to be around for a while?
I don't know. I will say this. In 2010 and 9, even, when Republicans and conservatives and libertarians and people that were just taxed enough already, Tea Party, that's what it means, when we were fed up, this was an organic, real, grassroots movement. What the left is doing right now, this is manufactured. Okay, this is a microwave dinner. Basically, this is nothing that's been, set and been cooking for a while. This is instant gratification. This is your Kmart, macaroni and cheese brand of protesters. And they're being paid. They're being paid handsomely to do this. And they're all being paid from Organizing for Action, which, again, is Barack Obama's organization. So once again, you have Barack Obama. Past presidents, when they leave office, there's kind of a political protocol in presidents in which you kind of go away, you either leave the area, or if you don't leave the area, you stay silent, you don't ridicule, you don't comment, and you don't try to interfere in the next administration. And, former President Obama will not do that. He has his legacy to defend, which is a horrible legacy, and thankfully it can be erased with a pen and a phone.
Well, Clinton didn't go away. George W. did. George H.W. did, but President Clinton was very active. Well, let me ask you this. Huge pushback on his travel ban. And now today or the next day or so, we should hear something new coming out on this. He's talking about potentially 10,000 new agents for ICE. What do you think is going to come next?
Well, I think he's empowering the right people right now around the country to actually enforce the law. No more catch and release. And for the rogue agents and facilitators in some states that are defying those orders, they need to be rounded up, fired, or arrested. So I think he's, going to put out something as far as on sanctuary cities. He's going to hire more ICE officers and more Border Patrol agents. And I think this next travel ban is going to be much more directed, if you will, to directly national security. I don't think there'll be a lot of information pertaining to visas, foreign workers, foreign students, professors, and some of the other things. But I worry it's going to go back more than likely probably in front of the Ninth Circus Court of Schlemiels, as I like to call it. And we'll see what happens. But I think if you look at U.S. Code 8-1162, it clearly says, as President Trump said in the press conference, which was extremely brilliant to bring it out and write it down, he said point blank, I have the authority to do this. I have the authority to protect the American people, and I'm going to use that authority to protect the American people. I believe if it was in front of any other Circuit Court, this thing, we would have never been having these issues because it would have been still in place.
So what's stopping the Ninth Circuit, Josh, from doing this continually throughout his presidency? I mean, they could just arbitrarily pop up and throw one out like they did on this one and just drive him crazy. What do we do with that?
We need to disband the Ninth Circuit. You know, look, I will never say that Jeff Flake and John McCain are Republicans or even conservatives, but they did introduce legislation to break up the Ninth Circuit. It needs to be broken up. When it was first put together in the 1800s, it was basically put in place because it only covered 4% of the entire population of the United States back then. Now it covers over 20% of the population. It's a monstrosity from California to Oregon to Alaska to Arizona to Nevada to Montana to Idaho to the Guam Islands, Mariana Islands, and a couple others. They need to break it down, and they need to give California, Oregon, Washington, and and the Mariana Islands and Guam to the Ninth Circuit, and they need to make a new 12th Circuit Court of Appeals, which would be Arizona, Nevada, Montana, Idaho, and Alaska. And that's what they need to do because they have too much power and too much influence. It needs to be broken up for sure.
Yeah, we're in Oregon. What can I say? We're so blue, we redefined it.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. Maybe we can go to the 13th Circuit just for Oregon. I don't know. So where do you think this immigration thing's going?
Well, I think we have to build, as I've said many, many times on your show and other shows, there's two things that I think President Trump absolutely needs to do in, I would say, within the first year and a half. He needs to start construction of the wall, without a doubt, and make either a law in Congress or by executive order stating that the funds must be appropriated only for the wall. They can never be changed or moved for anything else. That's very important because what they'll do is they'll give you a wink, wink and a nod, nod. And when you're not looking, they'll take the money away from completing the fence as they did back in 2006 with the Secure Fence Act and not finish it. They'll do the same thing. So there needs to be legislation or an executive order pertaining to such. And the other thing is he needs to just pack the courts with conservative justices. I need to see hopefully at least 2, if not 3 more. I want to see someone that's so conservative that they make Robert Bork look like a liberal on the court.
Well, we'll see. We got this justice. We got to get on the court by March. We'll see how that process goes. It looks like this president certainly hasn't been given a honeymoon. His first 100 days will be without a complete cabinet, and yet he's there because the people rose up and spoke.
Exactly, but that's what he did in Florida.
Pardon me?
That's what he did in Florida. He said, you know what, I'm done with Washington. I'm done with these politicians and the liberal media. I'm going to go back to the people. I'm going to go back and talk to the people that matter. I'm going to talk to the people that put me in the position that I'm in now. I owe it to them. I don't owe it to Washington. And I think that that was a smart move because he went back into his element. Yes, it was very reminiscent, if you will, of his victory speeches and his campaign rallies from the primaries. But it was good to see him do that, and I think he needs to do more of that as well.
I think that might be how he's going to govern. As odd as that may be, Reagan used to do this. I was a young reporter in Sacramento when Reagan was governor, and every time he ran into opposition, he'd go right into the district of the legislator that was opposing him and hold a rally and and win the vote from the guy who was opposing him. I mean, that is a tactic that works.
It does, because the bottom line is the American people are a different breed than the Washington political elites. You know, they work for a living. They pay taxes. They have issues, with paying for their mortgages. And now with health insurance, they got to worry, am I going to put food on the table or am I going to pay my premiums? I mean, these are real life problems that Americans have that the political bubble, the political class doesn't have. And they don't recognize the pain and fear and angst and anxiety that the American people are suffering from. And now they have an opportunity to change all that with someone who is actually there for we the people.
All right, Josh, you're fun to have around, buddy. Keep up the good work. Let me encourage you folks, you can go to JoshBernsteinPoliticalWriter.com, look for his TV show. Best to you, friend. Look forward to many more visits.
Thank you. You can also download my new app on iPhone or Android at the Josh Bernstein Show app. And remember, if you contact AMAC and say that you saw Josh Bernstein on Focus Today, we'll give you a free membership, no strings attached, free membership anytime you see this video.
All right, go to AMAC for that. Thanks, bud. See you around. All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
be right back.